John, thank you. Let's bring in our panel to talk about this. Joining me now, former Naval Intelligence Officer, overseer at Stanford's Hoover Institute, and economist John Jordan, and foreign policy expert Harley Lippman. Gentlemen, welcome to Newswire. Great to see you.
Good to be here.
Good to see you, too.
All right, so we had that interesting X post from the congressman from Pennsylvania. There's talks happening. We heard this morning that he was open to getting a minerals deal done, but then he says this thing about peace being very far away. John, that obviously wasn't good news for Donald Trump, who addressed it. And now here we are saying that he wants to be back on. Whose side do you believe?
Well, I think that both could be true. I think that Andrei Yermak is unbelievably influential within the Zelenskyy government. And the fact that he is saying this kind of tells you that the Ukrainians are moving towards where Trump wants them to be, but they have to kind of figure a way to save some face. But the fact that Andrei Yermak is talking to a American congressman is being that clear. The Ukrainians are folding. They're working out the mechanics behind the scenes, and they're going through the kabuki theater exercise of trying to salvage or reclaim some of Zelenskyy's pride.
Europe came forward with a framework, Harley, of a peace deal, but obviously going forward, if there is no support from the United States, could be very difficult, especially as we know they love their green initiatives, and they've had massive troubles with immigration and borders.
Well, you know, I think the big picture here, which is what I worry about, is that I don't want all this to backfire on the United States or on the Trump administration, because the Trump administration is trying to pivot to deter our main enemy, China. And if we're perceived as throwing a reliable friend and ally under the bus, the danger is that Europe could see China in replacement of the United States as a reliable partner. Asian allies watching this, like Japan they got to go nuclear, have protection from China. Our other allies, Taiwan, Philippines, Vietnam, Australia, they may cozy up to China now, thinking that America is not a reliable ally.
Well, John, pick up on that Harley's saying, the concerns of it backfiring, because we've already seen some of the media take a turn saying that it was a setup. So to Harley's concerns about how this is playing, especially to a global audience.
Well, first of all, America isn't throwing Ukraine under the bus. The fact of the matter is, the Ukrainians can't kill their way out of this. There's no systems that we can give them that are going to make a material difference. The battle, it's a bloody stalemate. The whole thing was botched with the slow walking of weapon systems by the Biden administration when it would have mattered. It's a mess. There's no real changing of the outcome here. As for the United States, well, you know, we're just tired of subsidizing Europe. To the extent of a $160 billion a year trade deficit and having to pay more for their defense than they do. And lastly, Europe doesn't make the things that China wants. Europe is also an export-driven economy that's economically in direct competition with China. So, and they're geographically so disparate, and they also compete for the same natural resources, energy and raw materials. So Europe is lined up to be more of an adversary to China due to the structure of both regions' economies.
Well, it is positive if there is this, chief of staff making these comments, and if there is a potential to at least get this deal signed. Donald Trump didn't mince any words today. He said he needs to be more thankful. But Harley, there's yet to hear any type of apology for what went on. But we do see a lot of messages of gratitude from Zelenskyy.
Yeah, I mean, Zelenskyy needs to be coached on how he speaks to Trump. He should have shown gratitude. He should have acknowledged the president. But what Zelenskyy could have said was this. He could have said, yes, you're paying the bill, and I'm very grateful for that. But we're doing the fighting and the dying for you. This is America's outpost, frontier, like Israel is, and as Europe has been for centuries. So if we go down and Europe goes down, America's going to be left helpless. So we're doing the fighting and dying. Unlike Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan, where America did fighting and dying and gave huge amounts of aid, Ukraine is holding their own against a huge superpower and have been holding their own for 3 years. That's not bad. They weren't giving enough
Well, they're
weapons
holding
by
their
the
own
Biden
with a lot of
Hold on a
support from
second.
they're holding their own with the support of the United States.
Yeah. Hold on a second. The idea, first of all, that Russia is a huge superpower is bunk. The Russian economy is smaller than that of Italy, first of all. The second point that's worth pointing out here is that a disintegrated or crippled Russia is first on China's wish list. China is desperate for raw materials and not to be dependent on sea lanes through which can easily cut by us and the Indians across the Indian Ocean between them and the Middle East and Africa. They look north with covetous eyes towards Siberia. So a disintegrating Russia is a benefit to China, and China wants this to continue because they want to be able to dissect Russia and gain access to its natural resources. So there's a lot more at play here.
Economically, there was a reaction. Some are saying because of the tariffs that are set to go into effect. John, as an economist, you know, the Dow fell about 650 points. You've got Warren Buffett out there saying that tariffs are an economic act of war. What's your read on how this is playing out in legacy media?
Well, anything in legacy media is going to calibrate it to hurt President Trump. Warren Buffett is a well-known liberal, and he's in his dotage. Tariffs are complicated things. There's concepts called substitution. There's other countries that can step in to fill those markets. Not everything in tariffs is a one-to-one price increase. China will eat a lot of those because the entire economy depends on exports so much that they couldn't afford a diminution in their exports to the United States. So it's a muddled picture. And that's one of the reasons that markets got spooked, because markets hate lack of certainty. Additionally, Bianca, equities are trading at historic highs, and you have a lot of portfolio managers and fund managers that want to take some of the risk off the table. Secondly, you had the Institute for Supply Management manufacturing report come out below Dow Jones expectations and below January, showing there is an economic soft patch. And there is no real immediate end in sight with regard to the resolution of the President Trump's tax cuts. So when a lot of the markets hate uncertainty, everything was expensive, everybody would take some money off the table. It's a near-term play until some of these other factors clarify themselves.
Well, we did see something that was clear. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing saying $100 billion in U.S. chip manufacturing. That's something, obviously, when you see the majority of chips coming from Taiwan, it's nice to see some of these manufacturing plants being here in the United States. America first, Donald Trump pushing that forward. John Jordan, Harley, Lippman, appreciate your time today, guys. I hope to see you back here soon.
Thank you.